Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again, or welcome for the first time to Top Split TV Twitch channel, of course. We have made our way over to Twitch this week for round 5 of the Sunday Night Lights. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here. I am your host, Alex McKellar. If I can find the button, there it is. And joining me tonight is the chaotic one himself, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, welcome back for round 5 of Sunday Night Lights.
Thank you very much, Alex. This should be a great race here from Interlagos. We did have a little sneak peek at the practice race for this event, and it was quite the cracker.
Yeah, mate, it was the warm-up event. As can sometimes be the case with the skips and the Sunday Night Lights. We get a really strong 8:15 race. We come into the 9:15, and sometimes it's even outdone the 9:15. But I'm pleased to say tonight we have the strongest strength of field of the week once again. 4100 last race, 4164 for this race, if you can believe it. So we've outdone all the rest by about 500 in these two races here tonight. The big one, of course, here now we are at Interlagos for the Sunday Night Lights, round 5. What a bumper field that we've got. Plenty of new names and some becoming regulars. Plenty of ANZ flags there, as you can see on the qualification standings at the moment. Hopefully we'll get some of them near the top there, Corey.
Well, that is what we can hope for, but it's good to see such a strong field. I mean, we do have quite a bit of international competition here that our AusNZ blokes do have to get over. But if anyone can do it, I have faith in our AusNZ blokes, especially Tim Grawcrotcher tonight in the 3 car.
Yeah, absolutely. Timmy G on camera at the moment. He, of course, is one of our very strongest drivers. He is part of the Top Split racing team, broadcast family, of course. Oh, the rear of the car stepping out there through turn 6. Hopefully this is his first lap. And, of course, the most important one, beautiful apex there for Mr. Grawcrotcher, it has to be said, as he went through turn 8 there, around turn 9 now. On the tail end of his, or the mid to tail end of his first time lap, leading the charge for the ANZ guys here tonight, at least in terms of his rating and ranking in this field, and certainly with pace to burn. Also great to see Team Mivano's own Enzo Cantor back here tonight, representing the Thrustmaster Mivano boys, as we say. Put on a great performance in the race just before, but really do appreciate his support as well. Sammy J. Toykala, the car 16, he's cracked it in for a top split run in a very, very strong field, and he also has pace to burn, Corey.
Yeah, exactly it. And a 52.3 on his first qualifying lap there is definitely nothing to sneeze at. That's probably one of the fastest qualifying times for a first lap that we have seen so far. He'll be looking good for maybe a low to low mid 51. As we can see a couple other people finishing their first laps as well, like Lee Anderson with a 52.5 and Al Frey with a 52.5 as well. It's going to be a close race here, Alex, and with these drafting areas such as the main straight and this second straightaway here after the Senna S's, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, 100% right there. Anderson, of course, who's on screen at the moment as we grab his proper paints. Took out the race last week at Road America, and looking forward to backing that up here again tonight. Frey we had on previously. He was here last week as well. Vascalampi, another one of the flying Finns. And actually, I might take a brief moment to look at the... just get that off the screen for the moment. Take a look at our scores, because it's timely if I can find it now. Season standings at the moment. We have... Sammy J. Toykala, we were mentioning before, right at top of the pops so far after his first lap. Timo Vascalampi on screen at the moment, or he was on screen in P2. The two Finns, best of buddies on and off track, leading the way at the moment. Håkan Grebstad, SNL regular in P3, with Kat, Sebastian Schultz rounding out your top 5. Not until we get down to P6 that we see the first of the ANZ drivers now. Jesper Koss, a Grip TV fame? No, that's a different Jesper. He's jumped to the top of the pop. Sammy J has only managed P2, as followed by Sasha Gourlay, who has become a bit of an SNL regular, I should say. He's in P3. Fantastic to see Webster down in P4. Great qualification for Webster. He's been struggling a bit in quali lately. Lee Anderson now, last week's winner, hugging that pit wall, trying to minimise track distance as much as he can as he approaches the line. Only good enough for P6. O'Fray now looks like he has done both his laps, has he? Which part of the circuit? Oh, no, he's out the back now. Might be on the tail end of his second lap, potentially. We'll touch base with him shortly. A few of them choosing to do runs later in the session there, Corey.
Yeah, I believe that's because they're hoping for slightly better track conditions, whether it's warmer because of the way that the new tyre model works, or slightly cooler just for that extra little bit of track grip. But it is amazing to see half of the field sitting in the 51-second bracket. We got exactly 10 cars who have set lap times down who are within that 51 seconds. And if Alfred is only right now on his second lap, then this could be a fairly quick one, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hop on board with him for the closing stages there, O'Fray. As you can see, just a tick over 6,000 in I rating. That's the sort of quality you can see here from the 9 car. Oh, no, in P9. The number 2 car, I should say. I need to put some numbers in these overlays, Corey. What do you think about that? Let's see what O'Fray's managed to do. Nah, he must have done his 2 laps already, I think. His best was a 51.8. And he has not improved, if anything else, as quali now comes to a close. We might get rid of the standings and pull up the grid as we've got a few to get through. Round 5 from Interlagos, of course, we've got Jesper Koss, new to the series, in pole tonight with a 51.4 outstanding time. Sami J. Toikala from Finland in P2, just a tenth and a half behind. Sasha Gourlay, like I said, becoming a regular here, P3. These are the guys you expect to see at the top of the standings and also the top of the official season as well. Team Ovaltine's own Håkon Grebstad, all the way from Norway, of course, in P4. Team of Ascalampi, second to the Flying Finns here in P5. Enzo Cantor, Thrustmaster Mivano racer, 51.6, not even 2 tenths behind, only good enough for P6 here tonight. Lee Anderson, last week's winner, 151.7 again, just 3 tenths off pole, all the way down in P7. Tim Gorkrotcher, part of the Top Split Racing Team family, of course, down in P8. Julian O'Fray, the car number 2 here tonight, only good enough for P9. Toshimasa Hanada had a good race with Toshimasa earlier in the week, very quick around here, but only quick enough for P10. P11, Jacek Majecki, he's all the way from Europe here at 151.1, 6 tenths off in P11. P12 tonight, Vasily Zaitsev with a 51.5, rounding out the front page. Moving on to the second page, Anthony Catt from UK&I in P13. P14, Rosen Bonev, no slouch in these cars in P14. Dylan Francis from ANZ, of course, in P15 with a 152.9. Cristobal Otero Roman leading the Iberian contingent here tonight from across Simart Competition, of course. John Scholz from Venom Racing here in P17, trying to chase that Division 2 championship with points here tonight. 18 tonight went to Mitchell McLeod from Torque Inc. AJ, another one of the Top Split Racing Team family in P19. P20 to Ben Snell from Team Miler. Strength of field, as we said, 41.64. Track temp, all importantly, 24 degrees, Corey.
Yeah, this is going to be a bumper race. You need at least a 31.77 to get into it. And I was just quickly having a read of the chat. And it looked like that Rosen Bonev missed qualifying a little bit and only qualified with the 1 lap, as we see them often racing now as they head down to turn 1 in the Senna S's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys getting through pretty cleanly thus far. Plenty of cool heads amongst them. We'll be looking just to get through these opening laps. The cool tyres here, of course, very challenging this season, keeping a lot of guys at the top end of town away at times, but thankfully we've got a big field here tonight, and the guys up front, look at this beautiful pack of cars as they approach turn 4 on the start of lap 1. A full complement of 20 here tonight. This is where they're going to go 3 wide in the mid-pack. They've worked it out by the looks of it. The 11 car of Toshimasa Hanada running wide there, but managing to keep it all. They're still 3 wide on the run up to turn 6. They've gone 2 by 2, sort of Noah's Ark style. Look at that pack though. Oh, I can hear some screeching tyres in front of them. Out the mid to rear pack. 3 wide through turn 6. Bit of smoke coming through there. The guys again still running very wide now on the approach to turn 8. 2 and 3 wide through turn 8 even. These guys putting on an amazing show here tonight, Corey.
Yeah, and unfortunately out the back there, coming through turn 4, I did notice that Alex John did have a little bit of a spin there. It's unfortunate for AJ. Hopefully he'll be able to get back going again and try and make a race of it. But this racing at the moment is just absolutely incredible, and it's only going to get better as we start heading towards... Oh, we got a spinner there. I think that is Mitchell McLeod. Coming for a spin there as we head into this final section. Oh no, he's just been collected as well.
Tell you what, that's not the best rejoin you're ever going to see. Mitchell won't be winning any fans on his Twitch channel doing that. Well, maybe he will on his Twitch channel, I don't know. But not amongst this field. That sort of rejoin is, again, not going to make you very popular as they go 2 by 2 across the start-finish line on the tail end of lap 1. Up the front now as this pack really starts to open up, as the race starts to unfold ahead of us. Now let me bring up our standings on the side here so we can try and keep track of this. The guys are still, what's that, about 8 deep in this front pack here, Corey. Plenty of racing ahead of us.
Yeah, and as I was about to say before, I seen little Mitchy McLeod there going for a spin. These big drafting straightaways are definitely going to provide plenty of action for us. As you said, you know, these guys are still
contact in the rear, the 8 cars around. No. Lee Anderson, last week's winner. Why don't we grab a replay of that and see what we can find here. On the approach to turn 4, very legit passing opportunity. The 11 car comes inside there of Rosenbonev. He's gone very deep under brakes. Probably too deep as it turns out. A bit of net code, I would say. And then in behind, the 19 car just gets through there. He's made it successfully through there. Unfortunately, not the same can be said for Lee Anderson there.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt here, Alex, but late after that crash, when you were just going through the replay, I did notice the 9 of Romain, who is currently still spinning out as he's trying to make his way back to the pits, and unfortunately Alex John got caught up in that incident as well. So that's unfortunate for those guys, especially AJ. You know, terrible lap 1, and it just got even worse for him on lap 2 there, Alex.
Yeah, there's a few in the pits now. We've got 4 guys in the pits: Anderson, Rahman, John and McLeod, each having their own story to tell, no doubt, as we go once again. Front pack now thinning out. We're down to about 6. The final one in that pack is Gorkrotcher. There's a chasing pack of 3, though, Nofre, Koss and Majetsky, all looking to close up through turn 1, through this center S's here, 1, 2, 3, this tight weaving complex that can really set up the passing opportunity into 4. Looks like Grebstad missed that opening section just a touch. And what we've got now is we've got a... Look, there's so many cars there. It looked like a 15-car battle. I don't know how you get so many cars in there, but they're going to go 3 wide into 4 again. Can these guys at the front get it sorted? Looks like they can. 2 by 2 they go. It's not the fastest way around here, but I tell you what, they're 10 deep and they're putting on a great show here tonight, Corey.
Oh, this is absolutely excellent to see, Alex, and this absolutely speaks for the skill level of these drivers as they're going 3, sometimes almost 4 wide, and then managing to file it back down to 2 by 2. This is absolutely incredible racing to watch, and it must be as much fun to drive as it is to watch. As I've seen someone just spin in the back of my shot there. I'm not sure who that was.
Yeah, I think it was the 11 car, Rosenbonev, who's now off the back of that trailing pack now. I'm just going to jump back up the front. I don't want to miss any of the action up the front here. I tell you what, they've actually managed to go line astern. I reckon they did turns 4 through 10, 2 by 2 at least. They've gone line astern to see what they can shuffle by way of the deck of cards that is this leading pack by the time they hit turn 1, Corey.
Yeah, and this is where the commentator's nightmare comes in, Alex, because these guys are just 2 by 2, and we don't know who's leading at what point because they're just so close. The lead is going to change so many times, especially these big drafting zones, as we see Sacha Gourlay there take a commanding lead with the draft, but he's being caught up by these guys who are 3 wide behind him.
Yeah, mate, there's a lot going on here on the way into turn one. We've still got a pack of cars that stretches all the way down to Jacek Majecki in P9. 9-car pack after 4 laps. I tell you what, this track brings out some of the best racing you'll ever see, and we've already seen it tonight, but I can remember 3 and 4 wide into turn one a few seasons ago. I didn't think we'd top that, but I tell you what, I think we're going to go close tonight as they go. Gorkrotch are looking to make it 4 wide into turn 4. No, they've stuck with 3 wide as if that wasn't bad enough. You've got it 3 wide. Is the 7 car, which is Vascalant. No, so Freya, I beg your pardon. He's out wide. They're again rejoining in the midst of this pack. I tell you what, these guys putting on some of the best driving you will ever see here tonight, Corey.
Yeah, and I've got to correct you there. You were right the first time. The 7 is indeed Vascalampi. Our Frey was back in 7th position. As you can see, these guys are still 2 wide going through this middle section. But Sacha Gorley and Håkon Grebstad have taken a little bit of a lead over these guys. I'm not sure who that is right behind him. I think that might be the 6 car of Enzo, which is good to see him up the front there doing well. We've seen a great fight back from him in the warm-up race, gaining 11 positions. And it looks like he's continuing that form on here in this race, Alex.
Yeah, fantastic drive from Kander. He's up 3 spots here. Look, the guys in front, this pack is going to shuffle so many times. Up 3 spots, though. There's a little bit of a gap, though. Kander now 8 tenths behind Grebstad and Gourlay. What a result for Grebstad this would be. Continuing on what has been a fantastic season for him. They're out to 8.5 tenths. I think the guys in behind Kander will line astern. Thank you very much. We want to catch up in this corner, although the front two themselves going line astern. I'll tell you what, line astern is the quick way to go through here if you can't draft and leapfrog. If you can draft and leapfrog safely, it's the quickest way to go around here, but they did not gain anything there. There was no leapfrog. They are still 8 tenths behind, and potentially a breakaway pack of Gourlay and Grebstad forming as Grebstad now leapfrogs into turn 4. Tucks in there in front of Gourlay there, just nose to tail, but that did cost them. Kander gaining just under 0.5 tenth down that straight there, Corey.
Yeah, it looks like Enzo just has a little bit of a sniff of the draft there as he's trying to catch up to these guys in front. But they were 2 wide for a fair while on that straight, and the chasing pack has started to drop off from 5th place back now as we can see the top 4 there's just breaking away. Enzo has caught up to the back of Gourlay and Vascalampi as well. And it's just so hard to keep up right now, Alex.
There's a lot going on, mate. You're right. The gap has been bridged now about 6 tenths between Gourlay and Kander in Ps 2 and 3 respectively. Vascalampi going with the aforementioned Cantor, the Team Ivano driver there. The gap now, 8 tenths, has shifted down to between Ps 4 and 5. Vascalampi and Toykala, the 2 Finns, battling it out on track once again. Great to see Toykala cracking it for a top split run here tonight. Grebstad and Gourlay, though, they are up front. They're going side by side now. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to be battling here. I want to be going line astern and see if we can't get a gap, because Sammy J in P5 is now full second, 1.1. Depending on how they get their braking through turn 1 here, we'll see if they can't drop him and make it a 4-car battle for the win there, Corey.
Well, that would be the ultimate hope. These guys at the front will want to try and break away from the rest of the pack as fast as they can, because they know any little mistake and the rest of the pack will be on them like... I can't think of a clean I can't think of a clean analogy right now, but as you can see, Håkon has retaken the lead over Gourlay. These guys are leapfrogging, but it doesn't seem to be proving them to help out very much there, Alex.
No, that's right, mate. And no, I'll have to add live gaps next week for those in chat. We've got, we can add that to the rotation next time, depending if we get time. But it is very close. They are all within a second. Tim Gorkrotch are now leading from P6, the second group. Toykala managing to bridge that gap. Can Gorkrotch do the same from P6 to get back on the front? He has 4 cars behind him down to the final one in P. Well, he's only got 3. How's my maths going there? 6 to 9. I suppose that's 4 cars. He's got 3 behind him, trying to ride his coattails to join back into the party there up front. Interestingly, though, although fastest lap times probably don't mean much around here, fastest lap of the race so far, given the draft, I should say, Enzo Cantor in P3 with a 1 minute 50 dead. Probably the fastest guy running around at the moment. No one's ducked into the 49, so Cantor has that mantle for the time being. As we look up the front now, it is a pack of 5. They're fanning out to go 2x2, or thinking about it at least, as we come into turn 1 on the start of the second half of the race, or at least we're up to the midway stage. Lap 7 to 13 here tonight, Corey.
Yeah, and these guys, like with Enzo there getting the fastest lap so far, it just goes to speak about, how good just sitting there in the draft is. I mean, he's going for an outside challenge on Hawkon right now as we head down towards turn number 4, as we see Vascalampi and Sammy J there think about going for a move as well. Enzo stuck on the outside. I'm not sure whether going for the outside move there was advantageous, as we can see Hawkon trying to get him cleared to say, hey, this is my second place. If you want it, you're going to have to work for it. Enzo back up onto the inside, though, coming through turns 6 and 7 there, heading to turn 8. And Enzo has clearly taken the second position there over Hawkon. And Vascalampi still sitting back there in 4th with Sammy J in 5th.
Well, this is allowing, of course, this Gourlay to almost get a sniff of a breakaway there. But it's down to 5 tenths now. The gap now 6 tenths to Gorkrocha, who was split off there. 6 and 7 have rejoined this pack. It's now P8 in danger of being the last the person voted off the island, and it is Jacek Majecki with Julian Ofray behind him. Those two really just drifting away. Jesper Koss really now almost in no man's land, a full 9 tenths behind. And this pack now 6 deep, looking like they could make a run at the title, so to speak, here tonight. That overtake from Enzo Cantor last lap is a perfect example of how you set up an overtake from corners before. As we watch the guys now going through turn 1, through the centre S's at 2 and 3 as well. What you find here, Corey, is on the tail end of this long straight, as we head down this long straight into turn 4 now, around the outside, as we saw Cantor go last lap, we'll see what they do this lap. You can actually go around the outside, set yourself up for the inside line through 6 and 7 and get the job done at turn 8. Really shows a strategy that can be done here at this track here in these cars. Such a fantastic combination they make for it.
Yeah, and I've been saying all week that this is one of the better combinations that we have as far as the SNL schedule, because it has its tight and twisty section through this infield section that these guys are just starting to head into, and it also has those 2 long drafting straightaways. And I thought Enzo might have made a mistake, but we can see right now he has made his way into the lead of this motor race in front of Sacha Gourlay with the inside pass there at turn 4. And it just goes to also speak to the level of skill of Enzo, managing to hold it around the outside just enough to be able to still have that overlap on Hawkon when he made that outside move, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Gorkrocha starting to set the cat amongst the pigeons now. He's making his way through this chasing pack, coming up the inside of Toykala now as they head up the hill for the, very loose turns 14 and 15, which is really just one flat section. You may as well call it a straight. He's got up the inside of Toykala now, but there is an 8 tenths of a second gap there for these guys in P4, 5, 6 respectively. They're good mates, those three. They'll work together to try and bridge that gap. And as we see the front runners now, Gourlay, Cantor and Grebstad coming through turn 1 into the centre S's on the start of lap 9 of 13. I could do this all day. The racing we see here tonight, Corey, I don't want it to end, but end it will in about 5 laps.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Alex. This is definitely one of the races for the ages, and it'll definitely, I think, have some great highlights in it that we could probably put into the highlights package there for the opening. But as we can see, the moves are just every lap. It's hard to keep up with who's where, because my software that I've got for position tracking is similar to the iRacing software. It only updates when they cross the line. As we see there, these guys, all 6 of them are still, you could throw a blanket over them and, you'd be able to cover every single one of them quite easily. These guys are racing so hard. It's great to see such good hard racing, and it goes to show what this series means to these drivers. And I'm glad that we got such a high caliber field who stuck around through all the problems with this new tire model and said, look, we're here for fun, we're here to be competitive, and this is the result that we're getting, Alex.
Absolutely. As we saw a couple of moves go on there, we had Gorkrotcher have a look on the outside of, or the inside of turn 10, I should say, to Grebstad. Gets a very good drive out of the final legitimate corner up the inside of Grebstad. Now at the same time we saw Toikala make a move on Bascalampi. But the biggest thing about that lap was Gorkrotcher was on the cusp of losing the draft until he had a magnificent braking zone into turn 4 and caught up the better part of 3/10 just in that braking zone to bridge the gap between himself and the cars in front of him. We see Toikala now makes the move up the inside of turn 1. We see, the crisscross. Will it happen there? Gorkrotcher now tucked right in the tailpipe of Toikala now. Grebstad relegated all the way down to P5 as we see Toikala running just wide enough to force Gorkrotcher now to take the extended way round into turn 4. Grebstad thinking about making it 3 wide, but not this time round as we see lovely turn in there from Gorkrotcher, keeping perfect racing line, but for missing the apex with the car on the inside. This is what we'll see though. We'll see Gorkrotcher, who was behind on the exit of turn 3, run up the outside of turn 4 and get the job done by the time he hits turn 6, Corey, just showing that he can do it even before turn 8, which is typically where you see it. This man is on fire. He's looking to get right up there with the big boys, see what he can't do in the closing stages of this race, Corey.
Yeah, and I can't speak enough about this racing. These guys, even through this tight twisty section, they're all looking for moves. They're all looking to try and find where they can make some positions up. You see Sammy J there trying to look on the inside of Gorkrotcher, couldn't quite get it done as they come to the final legitimate corner. We should call it that from now on. Let's see who's going to get the draft here as they come up what is the pit straight. Everything's looking pretty sedate right now, but as they start to get around some of these little kinks, they'll be able to try and sort themselves out. Everyone not looking like they're wanting to make a move right now, Alex. 4 to go. We'll start to see Sammy J looking around the outside of Gorkrotcher. He thinks better of it, and we might have a pass for the lead going into the center S's, Alex.
We certainly do. We've got Gourlay around the outside of Cantor, but that allows Gorkrotcher to get right up in amongst it. We're on board with him now as he looks at the tailpipe or the gearbox of Enzo Cantor there, the Team Ivano driver. Gorkrotcher now looking right. Will he go to the left? Oh, the move is covered off expertly by Cantor there as he now looks to go up the inside of turn 4 now. Will Gourlay hang on to that line? Looks like he has, and it all settles back down again as they run up the hill now towards turn 6. We've got Grebstad outside of Sammy J. Toikala there on the run through turn 6. Gorkrotcher similarly on the outside of Cantor as they come now into the first of a couple of very tight first gear corners here. Second gear if you've got a nice run, but in this sort of pack I would expect it to be first. These guys now, as we see behind now, Bascalampi and Grebstad arguing over the final position in that pack. You know, the most impressive thing I find here, one of the most impressive things besides all the great racing, is the fact that, as you say, Corey, these guys are looking for opportunities at nearly every corner on the track, and yet they have the skill to maintain the momentum and the race IQ in amongst themselves, not to compromise their run such that the pack gets broken up, and we still get left with this fantastic racing here. Six drivers competing for the win here, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Alex, and it's all about being race smart. These guys at the front of the pack are definitely very race smart. As we come across the pit straight again here, looks like we're going to have a 3-wide move for the lead as they come towards the line to go to 2 laps to go in this race. As we see Enzo around the outside gets the lead before the line, and Timmy Gorkrotcher looking to make the move on second place there. as they go through the middle part of the center S's. And it looks like things are still just getting a little bit crazy. 3 wide behind them for 4th place. And that's going to become the battle for 3rd. Big blocks being thrown. This is absolutely exciting racing here, Alex, as they head into turn 4. This is just absolutely incredible, the skill of these drivers, Alex.
Tell you what, you see the 2 finished drivers, no pardons or quarters asked for or given. Very close to taking each other out now. But what we see up front is Cantor now, with a balance of 2 laps remaining, about 1.5 or just under 0.8 of a second lead. These guys are going to want to be jockeying for position harder than they have ever done so far in this race. But at the same time, you've got Cantor, who's up 5 positions, similarly to Gorkrotcher. But his positions have led him to the front of this pack as they go through the tight right-hander that is turn 10 for the penultimate time this time round. These guys have almost let Cantor run away with it. Now 7/10. Not close enough this time is Gourlay to get the job done into turn 1, methinks, although Cantor runs perhaps a touch too wide there. You can use all of the ripple strips there on the outside, but they do drop away if you go too far with it. So Cantor now, yeah, he's compromised his run out. He's now just a 6/10 ahead. Gorkrotcher now 4/10 behind. This was not what I was expecting on the final run down. I was expecting 2 and 3 wide, but it is line astern as the guys now jostling for position into turn 1. Come on, Alex, get the right camera. There we go. Line astern was not how I expected them through this final lap, but line astern they are. Looks like it's going to be turn 4 where we see all the action on this final lap, other than the pit straight, of course, which is where the final result will be decided. We've got, look at them all, Henzo straight over to the left-hand side. No one wanting to give anything away. Cantor now covering off. No, he had enough of a gap. Gourlay at the inside.
Oh,
He's turning Gourlay into the rear of Cantor. That was not entirely unexpected in terms of an outcome there, but we still have a race on here. We'll have a look, go back and look at that later on. Unfortunate for Cantor, who's done such a fantastic job now, as we see Gorkrotcher on the head of this pack. We've got Vascalampi and Grebstad and Toykala still remaining, with Gourlay up there. Oh, Vascalampi's into the rear.
No.
Vascalampi is into the rear of Gorkrotcher. It's the house of cards is falling down here, folks. What we have left, though, is 3 cars left up the front. We've got Grebstad now coming through for P1. Toykala now right up the tailpipe now. And Gourlay sitting in P3, the 4-plated car, often seen as car number 1, of course. Now, has Toykala got it close enough? Has he timed his run well enough now? As he comes out of the final corner, he's tucked right in behind Grebstad. This will be one of the closest finishes you will see all year, folks, as we ride on board with Toykala now right up the tailpipe. Has he timed his run? Has he timed it? Oh, there's contact! There's contact as he goes by and takes out what has been one of the best races you'll ever see. 3 abreast as they cross the line there, Corey.
That was an absolutely chaotic race there to finish off the racing here, Alex. What a last lap that was, as looks like we got Sammy J officially first, Håkon Grebstad second, and Sacha Gourlay in third, Enzo Cantor in fourth, Jasper Cozy in fifth, Vascalampi coming home for P7 there, Frey coming home P8, Majeski is coming up in P9 there. We've got Gorkrotcher in 8th, 9th. Yeah, I'll get it right eventually. Anthony Catt in P10.
Yeah, mate, I'm just going to try and grab the replay of that Cantor incident. I'm just trying to remember who was tucked in behind him there. Was it Gourlay? I think it was.
Yeah, it was indeed Gourlay behind him.
Yeah, so we're just on board with Gourlay here. Just looks like he's left his braking a little bit too late, tucked up the inside there of Cantor and just turned him round. From there, we had the racing continue. Gourlay has run very wide after that one. And then we had, just going to find Gorkrotcher, and who was behind him? Vascalampi. We ride on board with Vascalampi, just trying to go back and catch all those incidents that we caught. Now, this was on the run up to turn 6, and I think it was in the braking zone into 8 that we saw the incident here. So the sweeping right hander, third gear, you drop down to somewhere in between the apex of 6 and 7 here, going through 7, you're flat on the gas. Think about pointing. Yeah, look at that. Bang. Just missed his brake marker. I wonder, maybe he thought Gorkrotcher braked a bit early. I'm not sure. The two of them getting tangled up there. Look, everyone comes to race on a night like that, and these things can happen, of course. A shame for those guys. But before we dive into interviews and what have you, why don't we go through these final results here tonight, Corey? Of course, we are here for round 5 of Sunday Night Lights from Interlagos. Sammy Toikala came through at the end. A little bit of contact between him and Webster in the closing stages there on the run to the line. Saw Sammy J take out the win by slimmest of margins at just over 10th of a second. Webster from Team Ovaltine in P2. He was in amongst it all race, but couldn't quite get it done in the final stages there. Sasha Gourlay again hung on pretty well throughout in that lead pack, which chopped and changed all over the place, rounding out our podium. Belgian driver Cantor, after getting punted next week, turn 4 of the final lap, representing Thrustmaster Barnett, of course, managed to claw his way back to P4 after that incident. Jesper Koss, new to Sunday Night Lights, rounding out your top 5. Vascalampi, after another incident in that final lap, managing to hang on P6. Julian O'Fray, apology if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, Julian, in P7. Jacek Majecki, P8 tonight. Gorkrotcher tragically had the lead in perhaps resting shoulders here tonight on that final lap in P9, representing, of course, the top split racing team. Anthony Cat from UK&I in P10. Vasily Zaitsev, P11. Ben Snell, representing Team Milo. Ben not qualifying the best of positions here tonight. Up 8 spots from, I assume, not setting time tonight. I didn't check. Silly. Apologies, Ben. He's up 8 spots into P12 into the SNL points, I should say. John Scholz for Venom Racing up 4 spots in P13. Dylan Francis, another ANZ driver there in P14. Rosen Bonev went out early in P15. Toshimasa Hanada in 16. Lee Anderson in 17. Cristobal Otero Roman from Rosa Competición in P18. Alex John, top split racing team in 19. Mitch McLeod, of course, talking in P20. Retirements from 15th on down. Strength of field, as we said, top strength of field of the week once. Biggest points on offer for the week, 243 championship points for the winner. And the fastest lap time tonight, we managed to get in the 49s. Did we what? 49.2 to Tim Gorkrotcher, of course. Draft no doubt playing part in that, but still, Corey, that's an amazing time, man.
Well, that is absolutely incredible, Alex. And it's not hard to see how he managed to get that lap in with how much drafting was going on and how aggressive everyone was being. And there is a little bit of road rage, as I can see in the chat there between Enzo and Sacha. I'm not sure what the result of that's going to be for those guys, but they were having some not very kind words to say to each other. So I think it might be time for us to start heading into the interviews, Alex.
All right. First up tonight, we might grab. We'll go in finishing order. Is as way grab.
Yeah,
Balkan Grebstead.
Hello.
Hello, mate. So close yet so far. What a race, mate. What? Tell us, what was it like from your cockpit?
It was bloody scary, mate.
Yeah, a bit action packed out there.
Yeah. Constant battles, constant 3 wides. Yeah, that was crazy out there.
Yeah, mate. Well, it was a 6 and 7 deep for most of the race there. Yourself, you were shuffled back and then all the way up to the front, and then a little bit of contact with Sammy. It looked like on the way out of the on the run home there, and I think he had the draft anyway. But on our screens, it looked like there was a little touch of contact there that sort of opened the gap from half a tenth to a tenth at most across the line there. But that's all part of it, right?
Yeah, I bear no grudge towards Sammy for that hit. I moved a little bit out to block as well, just a little bit, and yeah, sadly we came together. I think he would have got me anyway, so it didn't really matter in the end.
Yeah, mate. I think he did have your number. He had a pretty good run out there, and was right up the tailpipe early on. But, probably, didn't make much of a difference. He certainly had a great run, mate. But fantastic result for you. You've had a few good ones here this
Oh, yeah.
season. Even a decent quali here tonight, mate. You haven't been going so good at
For
quali,
once,
but
yeah.
fantastic. All right, mate. Well, thank you for joining us here and continuing your support of the series. Anyone like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I just gotta thank you guys for putting it up and everyone, that shows up for the race as well.
Fantastic.
No, yeah. Sorry.
Nah, you're right, mate. Thanks again, mate. And we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
Sure will. See you.
Well, I cut him off again, Corey. I'll tell you what, I've got to get better at that. But that was quite a good performance from Hawken. I thought his quality was good. He was in P4, which in this field is, I've got to say, quite outstanding. A couple of people still struggling in quality, it had to be said. But you know what? You got to play the cards that you dealt, and he did that pretty well here tonight.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to see Hawkon doing well. He is one of our FNRC regulars, and he's always done well in those events. And to see him finally getting up there and getting a good position for the start, so he can be in a better position for the finish, it's really good to see. And I'm so happy that he could be a part of the top three here for our strength of field race.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic result. So just moving on, we might grab a look and a chat with Mr. Cantor and see what he's got to say. Enzo, mate, what could have been? There were a lot of what could have beens out there tonight. Of course, that last lap, not your doing, but I'll tell you what was your doing, Enzo. Fantastic drive through not only this race, we watched, Corey and I were watching the race before and as well, mate, really strong around here. Tell us a bit about your race here tonight.
Hi guys. Well, before I start to talk, tell me what you think about the last lap contact.
Well, mate, it looked to us like Gourlay missed his brake marker. I think it was Gourlay, and he just, yeah, well, there's no other way to look at it really. Either he's braked too late or whatever's happened. But the front to rear contact was certainly unexpected given how well the race had been contested to that point.
Well, yes. The fact is that he did a completely rookie move because I didn't expect it at all. I was in front with enough gap to be not passed in that corner, and he had two cars in his draft, and the only thing he could do to defend his position and avoid any kind of contacts will be defending the inside line. He didn't do this basic thing in that point. And then obviously Tim Gaukroger had the space with the draft to attack him in the inside line. So it was too late, Sasha Gorley. It was too late to change idea. And obviously if you go deep on the brakes in that position, you ruined over another car. And it was me. So that's the simple thing that happened, and no sorry by him, no give back position by him. So well, I tried to speak to him in the chat. He said that I pushed him out of the track some races ago, and I said I would give back him the position in the next race. But well, surely I will do this today. If he would leave me finish the race, surely if it was behind me, I will leave the throttle and let him pass. But he decides to do all himself. So yeah, this was the race, and I don't know what to say else.
Yeah, mate, I think you described the incident quite well. I was watching that final straight, obviously, and I saw you pull over to the outside, and our angle on it doesn't say the gap between the cars, of course, but logic says that you're only going to pull over to the outside because everyone went straight over to the left, right, on the approach to turn 4, but you pulling out to the right, it really backs up what you say. You must have had a gap, otherwise you're not going to give up that defensive position. So again, you're right. If it's me, I'm probably defending the inside in Goulet's position. But to be honest, I probably would have defended the inside in your position just because I know there's an armada coming behind. But if you felt you had the gap, the line's yours to choose, mate. And if you're safe there, but for a misjudgment in braking, then, again, it's your line to choose. But I think you described that accurately, mate. So, but also, go ahead.
Let me say another thing. Well, if I will choose the inside line in order to defend, it could happen the exactly same thing, because if someone who will behind me in my draft, someone else will try to pass on the outside. So it will happen the same thing with another thing, that if I was on the inside, I would be not able to defend my speed in the next straight. So what I do was the exact thing to do in that point. I could do nothing different from that, and I was almost sure to win the race, because in the last sector of the track I was a little bit faster, and I could gain 0.5 tenths in the last corners, and it was enough to win the race without being passed before the finish line. So I think my strategy was the only strategy I could do. And for the rest of the race, it was a very nice race. I was very careful because the track was so slippery. So first 3, 4, 5 laps, you had to be very gentle on the brakes, and you had to steer not too much in order to limit the weight transfer of the car and avoid spins. Then when tires were ready to push, I started to push very hard, and but I was patient, and I know that my work will finish in the last laps. Then I tried to exit from the last corner in first position, and I watched the gaps, and I was first in the at the finish line. And when I was rear Sasha at the last corner, I was able to pass him before the finish line. So simply I was faster in the last corners, and probably I would have no trouble to win, but surely I will give back the position to Sasha if he was rear me.
Yeah. All right, mate. Thank you so much for your continued honesty and your appraisal. We appreciate it each week, and also for your support, mate. I know these things are not necessarily popular with the top drivers at the moment, so we do appreciate you coming out each week for the good and the bad, mate. But look, before we let you go this week, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yes, then finally, I will say that this car probably is not is very strange, still very strange, but it's very challenging to go near the limit with this car. So finally, I found my fun driving it. Perhaps it is not so simulating the real grip of the tires with this car, but well, I found my fun and my speed. So I will continue to run with this car and in these areas. And yes, finally, thank you for giving me this chance again. I have to say thanks to my team manager Fabio Mantellini, my team Mivano Transmaster Racing, all my teammates, you both surely for your work on broadcast as always, and see ya next week.
Thanks, Enzo, mate. We look forward to catching up in the future.
See ya.
There you go, Corey. An Enzo special there. Look, I got to say, I think he calls it honestly each and every time. When he muffs up, he lets us know and he apologises. And I thought he was very restrained in his comments there. I mean, this is a big race, biggest one of the week. He has found some pace, and I've got to tell you, I think Enzo's copped some criticism in the past for how he approaches his races. I think in more recent times he's using his head a lot more than his heart, and his heart was certainly on his sleeve there in that one. And I think he was pretty controlled on what he said.
I must commend Enzo on how controlled he was being there in that interview. But in saying that, I'm so glad that he has found his fun and he's found his speed, and he's not letting that incident discourage him from coming back. Because we need characters like Enzo in these races, because he's great to watch whether he starts at the back or the front. And we always know when we bring him into the booth, he is an absolute blast to have a talk to.
Absolutely. Well, let's get our final driver in the green room up once again. Mr. Snell trading the commentary booth during the day for the cockpit at night. Snuck in to the top split at car number 19, representing Team Milo, of course. Ben, mate, the quality didn't help you, but you managed to pick your way through the field a bit tonight.
Yeah, how you going, guys? It's good to actually make it home, and I definitely cannot qualify at Interlagos. Done 5 races this week. Every race I've started from the back because I can't put a quali lap together. So that's the story of my week.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. But look, shame of it is you missed quite a race up front. There was plenty going on there, and plenty going on after the race, I think, as well, judging by some of the closing lap incidents. But from your perspective, how'd you see it, mate? You just pick your way through and take the opportunities when they presented?
Unfortunately, it wasn't actually the qualifying that cost me that chance to be with the lead pack. I was in 10th by about halfway through the first lap, just cutting a swathe through the pack, especially behind Mitchy McLeod. He definitely opened a few doors for me.
Yeah, he does race nice and hard on those opening laps.
He sure does, but unfortunately, I did a classic Milo move and had a half spin on lap 2, which dropped me back down the pack, and I then just pretty much had to pick my way back forwards. Ended up having a nice little battle, 3-way battle for 10th, but unfortunately, I had a little bit of damage and couldn't match the guy's straight line speed, and ended up finishing 12th.
Yeah, well, still in the Sunday Night Lights points, and you are, as it stands, the leading ANZ driver in our series, of course. So, certainly,
that's a shame.
certainly. Although I think Gorkroch might have a bit to say about that. He only managed 9th after having, well, he grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory there, not by his own doing either. Fortunate incident for Tim. But look, thanks once again for your support. I know you had a big day out at the track today. I hope that went well, and hopefully we'll see you back again next week. Anyone like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Of course, you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's amazing to see the size of the fields. We had 4 full splits tonight. 4K plus strength of field. Like, it's amazing to see the turnout that is coming from this humble little broadcast. And I know you've had to go to Twitch this week to try and sort out those internet issues. So it's great to see that you guys are persevering and pushing through to make sure that these broadcasts will go ahead and everybody can enjoy them.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Ben. Really do appreciate your ongoing support and support of the local community, and now the global community that's getting behind us here. It makes it all worthwhile. So thanks again, Ben, mate, and we look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
Have a good one, guys.
There you go, Corey. I know Ben spent plenty of time doing his own commentary this week at the Drifts. This weekend, you could probably hear a bit of that in his voice, to be honest. So we thank him for taking the time not only to come out and race, but to join us here in the booth. Mate, thoughts on what was a pretty bloody awesome race, I'd have to say.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations, Ben. After, it's been a hard couple of weeks for him here at SNL with a little bit of rough results for him. So it's good to see him getting into the points positions there. And just, wow, what a race. The guys at the top were definitely deserving of being there, even with those last lap accidents. But you know what? Ben is exactly right. This little broadcast has made our strength of field racing so much more enjoyable. And, I want to give a big shout out to you, mate, because you putting on this show for everyone has done absolutely awesome. And thank you to all the drivers who turn up and make this really worth commentating, because without you guys coming into race, we wouldn't be here in the broadcast booth bringing you guys this amazing racing.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Thanks, Corey. I do appreciate your support in here as well. It's been great fun having you here too. But for those of you wondering, of course, we have transitioned to Twitch, looking potentially to make that a permanent change depending on how things go. We will post the race replay on YouTube, which is where our archives are held for all the historic seasons of MNL and now SNL. So keep an eye out for that. But looks like for the time being, if not in perpetuity, we'll be here on Twitch. So that, speaking of which, I managed to nearly get all the buttons right tonight, Corey. It was a really close. I didn't have to worry about too much else tonight, just the 16 things to get the race going, but just that last little misclick there. So check us out, folks. Sunday Night Lights on the Top Split YouTube channel. I have to fix that up now that we're over here at Twitch and actually put the channel name. That is where the race broadcast replays will be. Join us in the Discord, because that is where the community sort of thrives live, if you like, where we do the broadcast and the interviews from. Also see the latest updates about where we're broadcasting, what's going on, and join in the conversation there. The Top Split podcast can be found on thetopsplit.com. Latest episode is up, where I do have a fairly in-depth say on my thoughts about the community's reaction to the new time model. There's also other episodes there with the likes of Matt Malone, Nick Cross Jr., and most recently Marcus Ambrose, top Australian supercar and NASCAR driver. Also join us on the Top Split on Facebook. Join us there. Let us know what you want to see more of. And of course, you can find quite a number of us on Twitch. Here we are at Top Split TV. AJ77. AJ was out on track, sometimes in the booth here with me. Out there on track, didn't have a great night out, actually, inside for the race. And of course, Corey, tell us about your channel.
You guys can find me at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. I will put out a mature content warning. The language can get fairly fruity, as you heard. I couldn't come up with a good analogy earlier. So, yeah, make sure you come and check me out there. And Alex, thank you again. This has been an amazing broadcast, mate. And we hope to see everyone again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a ton of fun. Thank you to all the drivers who made it what it was. I have been your host, Alex McKellar. Joining me once again, the chaotic one, Corey Steinhauser. We have had a great time calling this and look forward to your company in the future. And until next time, we'll say ciao for